Well, if there weren't panic buttons being hit before, they're being hit now. The Warriors, the defending world champions, I might not be able to longer because they're now down 3-1. Kylen Mills and I are going to break down what went wrong. Is there any hope left? Just try to paint as clear of a picture as possible. This is a depressing night. Some way to put it. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. You can follow Kylen Mills on all social media platforms, including Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Kylen Mills. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow. If you're a Warriors fan, Kylen, these are dark times. The Dynasty is on the verge of coming to an end. I don't even know where to point the finger for tonight or whether Lonnie Walker was just that good. I have a few thoughts, but I'd love to hear yours first. Great to see you and your reaction to tonight's somewhat stunning loss. I was stunned at the end. 104-101 to the Lakers to fall 3-1 in the series.
Yeah, this was a tough one to watch, Cyrus. The Warriors, it was a game of runs, first of all. The Warriors had that solid lead, then somehow let it slip away late in the third quarter going into the fourth. And what I noticed most during that stretch is that the Warriors stopped running that high pick and roll that was so effective to get Anthony Davis out of the paint and to get and to stretch the floor and get him away from the basket, which is ultimately what has helped open up the Warriors offense. So that's one thing that stood out to me about that stretch where the Lakers were able to battle back. Because I thought in that third quarter, the Warriors started to take control. They earned that double-digit lead. I thought, hey, can they just close this out? And then all of a sudden, the Lakers went on this run. So it was fascinating. It was a game of runs. To me, I feel like the Warriors should have hammered that high pick and roll a little bit more during that stretch. That, to me, was one of the most, if not the most effective plays and scoring, the ways that the Warriors scored. I mean, it was just a rough night from three, first of all. So, we've talked about it throughout the postseason, throughout the regular season. The Warriors at times, when they don't execute other areas of the game, can live and die by the three. And this was a game where they could not score from deep. I mean, you just look at brutal numbers for Steph Curry, 3 of 14. That's not something that's usual for him. Klay Thompson, 3 of 9 from deep, but just 3 of 11 from the floor. That hurt. I saw you tweeted out, Klay Thompson isn't going to score just 3 in the second half. He scored like 6 in the second half, and it was still absolutely brutal. But I think you got to give a lot of credit to Lonnie Walker. I mean, that was just an amazing performance for him by by this Lakers team. I think, obviously we know this is a talented team with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, guys who can score. But to me, Lonnie Walker really came in and made a huge impact. I know there's a lot of different directions we could go. Jordan Poole, yikes. I mean, there's some individual player performances I think we could point to, but this was just, it was a tough one because I felt like the Warriors really had control, heading into late in the third quarter.
Yeah. Here's the first question I want to ask. And I feel like I want to ask you a lot of questions because I have
a lot of questions as well. Like my mind is spinning a little bit from this game because there were a lot of different things that happened.
Well, here's the first question I want to ask. And it has to do with the fourth quarter. I thought the Golden State Warriors found something with their starting lineup. They made the decision to start Gary Payton II over JaMychal Green, who started the last 2 games. JaMychal, on a side note, we can discuss that as well, played a whopping total of 2 minutes, 16 seconds tonight. And I've been clamoring, you've been clamoring all season, all postseason, that the Warriors need size. I know JaMychal Green is not exactly the size you're looking for, but hey, he's 6'9". I thought I thought he was doing something there, at least. He wasn't a detriment, certainly. 2 minutes, 16 seconds. I don't know what he did to deserve that, coupled with absolutely no playing time for Jonathan Kuminga. So the Warriors basically sacrificed size tonight, and it might have cost them. But my question is, I thought they found something in the starting lineup, and more specifically in Gary Payton II getting some real minutes. I'm never opposed to Gary Payton II playing more. I think he's a fantastic player. There's a reason why the team traded back for him. It was a mistake to let him go, in all honesty, and that's something we can visit later on. But the reason why I bring him up is because I thought they found something there, and for some reason in the fourth quarter, though, Kerr decided to play Gary Payne II, just 2 minutes and change. And then he went with Moses Moody, who, look, I think Moses Moody, I don't think he did anything wrong in this game. I don't think he's the reason they lost in this game. But I just don't understand why, of all the times this year, now in one of the most pivotal points of the season, now is when Steve Kerr decides to put all his faith in Moses Moody in the most important moment. And for some reason, I thought Gary Payne II was doing great. But in that fourth quarter, Moses Moody plays 9 minutes, 49 seconds. Gary Payne II plays 2 minutes and 11 seconds. And then the other four players, Wiggins, Draymond, Klay, and Steph, played the entire fourth quarter. So that was your fourth quarter. It was just those six players, but it was mostly Moody and a little bit of Gary Payne II. What were your thoughts on that? Because I thought it was peculiar at a minimum. And I'm just puzzled why he abandoned Gary Payne II, who I thought was doing great. I thought he was a reason why they were playing so good in this game, and I thought should have won before Lonnie Walker the fourth turned into a Hall of Fame player. Your thoughts on that?
I didn't have a problem with Moses Moody playing late in the game. I thought he played really well throughout this game,
Yeah,
throughout this
yeah.
series. So I don't know that I have so much of an issue with that. I mean, the whole Moses Moody playing time situation is strange because Steve Kerr had this aversion to playing him during the regular season. He got DMP'd up until late in the season. Then all of
Mhm.
a sudden, Kerr trusts him during the playoffs. So I do think that is puzzling. But I think what we've seen from Moses Moody in the postseason has been, more of what the ceiling is and what his potential is. From the eye test, I thought, and I think throughout the series, he's been making hustle plays. He's been just running down, trying to challenge balls. He did only have one rebound in this game, but I feel like he was going after every single 50-50 ball so hard. And that's something I appreciate. He also had that massive dunk, which felt really good. I thought that he played good defense. I think he's been playing solid defense throughout. I do also agree, though, that I thought Gary Payton II played well, and I think that he could have got more minutes. So I don't know that I necessarily have an issue with Moses Moody getting minutes in the fourth quarter. I think the entire way that Steve Kerr has handled his playing time this season has been strange, but I also at the same time agree that I would have liked to see more Gary Payton II. But I thought Moses Moody had good contributions tonight. Like, it doesn't necessarily stand out on the stat sheet in terms of like 7 points, 1 rebound, but he did have 2 steals, and they were big steals. And like I said, I thought defensively he was playing well. He's been applying a lot of pressure, and he's just been a player who's been hustling for every ball, which I appreciate because I don't feel like all the Warriors have necessarily brought that same level of intensity every
Mhm.
single game. So like for me to see that, like, I appreciate that. He also had a big block as well. So, I thought he was, doing some really nice things, but I also don't necessarily understand why Gary Payton II, who has 15 points in 23 minutes, didn't play more. So, I kind
Yeah.
of agree, I agree on that point, but I also don't mind Moses Moody playing.
Yeah, me raising that point isn't a criticism of Moody at all. I thought he played fantastic, but it's just I thought Kerr found something there that was really effective. And you mentioned Gary Payton the second stat line.
Mhm.
Again, he finished 23 minutes, 22 seconds, was a +3 in the plus minus, but more importantly, I think 15 points. He was 7 for 9 from the field, he even hit a three. And for him to just not play virtually the entire fourth quarter, say for 2 minutes. It was just weird. I thought he found something in Gary Payne II. Now Klay Thompson, when we come back, we got to talk about him because I don't know how you can defend that. I mean, that was just ugly. That was just awful. If you're gonna point a finger at anybody in the Warriors, in terms of if you want to play the blame game, I think it has to start with him. That was awful. Those were forced shots. You mentioned that I didn't think he would score. I mean, he scored 3 points in the first half, and yes, he did technically score more than that in the second half. He scored 6. That's not good. That's not good. And he did good in games 1 and 2, and for him to just vanish in games 3 and 4, that's really crazy. So we got to talk about that and Steph. And I don't know if it's time to talk about the future yet. I see people in the chat bringing up 3-1. The Warriors have come back from that before. This ain't the 2016 Warriors. But we'll touch on that and so much more after we give some love to our sponsors, including Gametime, which is a fantastic way to get tickets for events, whether it's tickets, for sporting events, concerts. Kylen, when's the last time you've been to a concert, by the way? Random question.
Great question. I haven't been to one in a while. I went to Outside Lands last year, here in San
Yeah,
Francisco anyway, at Golden Gate. I think
yeah.
that maybe was it. I'll tell you what, I don't know that I want to go back. I'm too old for that ish, but
I know. I can't remember the last concert I went to.
Tell you
Yeah,
what, Taylor Swift is coming to town in case there's any Swifties out there. I know
there
that's
you
one a lot
go.
of people have circled in the calendar. She'll be in the Bay in July.
There you go. Well, and I bring that up because it isn't just sports you can buy tickets for with Game Time. You can also buy tickets for
Great.
concerts. And they have a low price guarantee, meaning you buy your tickets from Game Time and you happen to find another pair of tickets or whatever number of tickets you bought, same row, same section somewhere else for a cheaper price. Game Time will match the difference. That is literally a low price guarantee. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code Locked On NBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Every dayers. I have no idea what's planned for tomorrow. I actually wasn't planning on hosting an episode of Locked On Warriors because I'm doing a show with Rick Barry on the Mic'd Up app. But given what happened today, I might. I don't know. Kylen, you're taking off for a wedding. So this is it for you for this week. But follow the program on Twitter at Locked On Dubs. That's where we post when we're hosting shows, what time, who the guests are, and so forth. So follow us there. And you can follow Kylen Mills on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Kylen Mills. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at Dog Surf Roadshow. Kylen, before I ask about Klay Thompson, what Steph did, Steph can't be like, he's guilty too. The Warriors were only down one. He had the ball. And what he did there, forcing that really long three-pointer, was very reminiscent to me of 2016. In game 7, where the Warriors had numerous opportunities to attack the basket, get easy baskets, and instead were settling for these really long, forced, ugly three-point shots. And it was deja vu all over again tonight. It was really ugly. I hate trying to read body language or trying to make assumptions based off just what I'm seeing on the TV. But it looks like LeBron James is in these guys' heads a little bit. I don't know if that impression comes off to you at all, but for some reason, I sense intimidation from a lot of Warriors players every time they want to attack and they see LeBron there. I don't know. I could be completely wrong on that. This is just my guess, but I can't find another explanation for why Stephen Curry did that again. He should have learned from his mistakes 7 years ago. Don't force difficult threes like that. I know you're the greatest shooter ever, but all the success coming tonight offensively, like you mentioned, those pick and rolls, and it was Steph attacking the basket. He was getting there unimpugned, and I don't understand what happened there at the end. So Steph, man, we love you obviously in the Bay Area. You're the next Joe Montana, but that was just you had a basket there, and I just have to bring that up. But Klay Thompson, Kylen, your thoughts? What happened there? What's going on with Klay? Is it over for him?
Going back to the fourth quarter stretch really quick, just my comments on that. Yeah, I mean, I think that Steph Curry had Anthony Davis in an isolation, absolutely drive to the basket that was working throughout the night. That was a tough step back 30-footer. I mean, that's just a difficult shot. That being said, I do want to mention, I mean, Steph Curry needed more help in this game, and that kind of plays into the Klay Thompson point that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. I mean, I thought Steph was fantastic in so many other aspects of the game up until that, 17-second to go fourth quarter shot. But I just think the guy needs more help. And in terms of what you mentioned about the Lakers possibly being in the Warriors' heads or LeBron, I don't know about them necessarily being in their heads, but I do still feel like I see some fatigue on the Warriors. And that's, I don't know, just my impression or the way I'm reading some of the body language is, maybe just a little bit tired. And to me, I just think that Steph Curry needed more help all around. And that plays into the Klay Thompson thing. I mean, this Warriors team is the most effective when they have the Splash Brothers going, when they have multiple threats from beyond the arc. And when Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole, all three are hitting, this is an incredibly tough team to shut down because you can't just, close out one of those guys beyond the arc. But when Jordan Poole has just an abysmal game, Klay Thompson couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
Mhm.
Steph Curry wasn't shooting well from three either. Although, like I said, I do feel like he made a positive impact on this game in a lot of other ways. He wasn't shooting great from three as well. So I think, that just puts the Warriors in a tough position. When Steph Curry is getting baskets, he was able to score quite a few twos and to draw some fouls, but wasn't hitting a lot from three. And then Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole just disappeared and were almost entirely ineffective. Also, when you look back at that fourth quarter stretch, not to get away from Klay Thompson, but the Draymond Green turnover is one I would have liked to get back. I
Oh,
think that play, they were trying to find Klay Thompson in the corner on a back screen, but that's not the position where you want to turn the ball over with, just a couple of seconds left in the fourth. That could have been an opportunity if the Warriors could have just held on to the ball. Draymond, always plays tough defense, but I think he could have been better tonight. By the way, he had the worst plus minus on the team. He was a -10, which is rare for Draymond because usually while he doesn't stuff the stat sheet, you can see his impact in terms of the plus minus. So it doesn't tell the whole story, but that was one specifically that hurt. And Draymond had 5 turnovers on the night. So just another area I feel like he could have maybe cleaned up. But Klay Thompson, man, the Warriors need to get more out of him. Absolutely. Sorry, to circle back to the original point.
no,
The
don't be
Warriors need
sorry.
more from Klay
You're rolling.
Thompson for sure.
You're rolling. No, you're rolling. No, don't be sorry. You're doing great. Where are we in the clock here? I don't know if it's 16. Okay. Well, here's one issue I have because and I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Lonnie Walker was almost single-handedly the reason why the Lakers won this game. I thought the Warriors were in control. Again, that's why I bring up Gary Payton the second in the fourth quarter because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I thought they had something great going there, and then he was nowhere to be found for most of the fourth quarter. The why of that, I hope someone asks Steve Kerr. Of course, he'll probably give you the same answer he gives for everything: matchups. That's what that's the answer he always gives to any tough question: matchups.
100%.
And then there's nothing you could say beyond that. But Lonnie Walker, the second or the fourth, the third, is it the fourth? It's the fourth. Murdered the Golden State Warriors tonight. I'm in the fourth quarter. This is the quarter that he just turned into a god. And I'm trying to find that box sheet right now. I had it right in front of me. Here it is. Lonnie Walker in the fourth quarter played all 12 minutes, was 6 of 9 from the field. Wasn't like lethal from deep. He only took 3 3-pointers, only made one of them. Got to the line for 2 free throws, but scored 15 points in that fourth quarter. It looked like he could not miss. In fact, in terms of just shooting 2-point field goals, he only missed one out of, I believe, 6 attempts. So he was 5 for 6 from the field in terms of 2-point field goals, and he was unstoppable. And part of the reason why I feel like he was unstoppable is an issue that I've been bringing up all postseason, all season. You brought up the fact that the Warriors never pursued a center or any kind of traditional big, even though like the need for it, at least I feel, was certainly there. This is a small team. And Lonnie Walker, I feel like if you just put a little more size out there, you could challenge these shots better. I know Lonnie Walker's not a huge dude. He's 6'4", but LeBron James is a huge dude. He's 6'8". Anthony Davis was out there. He's a big dude, at 6'11". Austin Reeves, even at 6'5", when you compare him to the Warriors, suddenly is pretty big. And I guess my question to you, Kylen, because I'm looking at the box score tonight, and especially in the fourth quarter, where the Warriors only played 6 players. Andrew Wiggins, who's 6'7". Gary Payton II only played 2 minutes, but he's played 2 minutes in the fourth. He's 6'3". Draymond Green is 6'5", 6'6" with shoes on. Klay Thompson, 6'7". Stephen Curry, 6'3". And then Moses Moody was the only other player out there in the fourth, and he's 6'5". I've never liked that. I'm only okay with small ball lineups if your small ball lineup has a lot of like 6'7", 6'8" people out there, and you have people like Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson at the peak of their powers in their prime. That's not the case anymore. A lot of your other players are not 6'7", 6'8", like Iguodala, like Livingston, like David West, like Otto Porter Jr. Most of them are like more in the 6'4", 6'5" range. That's not big. Those are really small individuals when you put it in perspective to the other players out there on an NBA court. Do you see it the same way, or does it not bother you that the Warriors use the small ball lineup smaller now than we've ever seen it? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm just curious because you also mentioned that you thought the starting lineup was working for the Warriors because you said you really liked Gary Payton II in there. And that's an area where I would agree because I like the starting lineup. I think the small ball has been effective against the Lakers. I say that while I have been on the same train as you throughout the season, that I wanted to see the Warriors add more size for certain matchups, for certain situations in games and in series in the postseason. But I do think, given this Lakers matchup, the small ball lineup has the ability to be effective. But one thing is, they have to be able to hit threes and they have to run the Lakers out the gym and score in transition. They also can't afford to give up, too many turnovers and to give up points in transition, in order to be able to win that battle. The Warriors finished with 16 turnovers, which honestly isn't terrible for them, but it is a little bit over the over under when you look at, like, for example, last series, them winning games versus losing games. I was doing the math in the last series, and I think the Warriors, whenever they had 15 or more turnovers, they lost, those games in the series. And when they had less than that, they won. So, like I said, it's right around that mark where, I feel like they can clean that up a little bit. So also though with the small ball, like I said, you got to make threes.
Yes.
When you're running that lineup out there and you can't hit a three, well then it makes it so much harder because they're just going to pack the paint and you've got small players on the floor. But I do like the small ball lineup when you match up Draymond Green and Anthony Davis. And like I said, run that high pick and roll and try to get Davis out the paint. I mean, that's what worked for the Warriors well, in previous games of this series. So I do understand that. I did like the way the starting lineup worked out tonight, but I think the Warriors are vulnerable in some aspects and size. And I think we saw that a little bit in the Kings series.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about some of the Kings players. They had a size advantage in their
Mm-hmm.
bench. They had a size advantage in their starters. And I think there were times where they were able to dominate on the boards and in the paint because of that size advantage. So it's something that the Warriors are going to have to be really intentional about is trying to push the pace. If they're going to go small, they got to hit threes if they're going to go small, and they can't throw the ball away every time down the floor if they're going to go small. That's my thought on it.
Yeah, Gary Payton II is one of those weird exceptions, right? They call him like a little big man. He's usually effective guarding 1 through 5s. Again, I wasn't like super ecstatic that he was the answer, but it was effective. It was working. Normally speaking, though, if someone's 6'3", I would not be a fan of. But I mean, would you agree with that, right? Like Gary Payton II is kind of not he's not your typical 6'3" guard, right? I mean, he's out there like, causing havoc on 6'8", 6'9" dudes. He's dunking over big sometimes, right? With like, I mean, there was one play where Draymond tried to pass an alley oop to him, and people were like, "Whoa, like what's going on there?" But they believe he can pull it off. He's that athletic. Normally, I would not. And in all honesty, again, this is where like you have Kevon Looney played 10 minutes. I don't know if the illness was the cause of that. Did Gary Payton II leave the game for a bit early on because he was puking? Is that true? I never.
That's yeah. I saw that being circulated. I don't know if that's true or not because that maybe was a factor in the fourth quarter. I don't know. But I saw that floating around. I don't know if that's fact or not, so I can't confirm. But see if we can find the origin of where that came from. But if he was in fact sick, and Kevon Looney is still recovering from illness, then you're talking about a different story in terms of why.
Yeah, your mic is fading. By the way, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Yeah, like all of a sudden the volume went super low. Well, regardless, we're going to take a quick ad break here to talk about Prize Picks. I did not win. Prize Picks had a really cool promo tonight. And for people unfamiliar with how Prize Picks works, it's all about betting over-unders on individuals. Like Stephen Curry's over-under tonight, for example, was 29.5 points. He scored 31, so we nailed that. And all you do is either decide, I think he's going to score more than 29.5 or less than 29.5. And tonight, PrizePicks had an awesome offer where they were letting their users play a free 3-player parlay. And that's what they do sometimes. It's that much fun. And you're picking 2 to 6 players. It's not just points. It can be assists. It can be rebounds. I think you can even do turnovers. And it's not just basketball either. You can bet on Major League Baseball Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer. You can cross over between different sports. It's a lot of fun. Easy payouts, super user-friendly application. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit 50, 25, whatever it is, they will match it. So you will have double in your account what you put in to start playing. It's fun. Don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On and sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Go follow Kylen Mills on all social media platforms at Kylen Mills, including Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Is there anything in the chat? I want to see if anyone is anything. Has anything stuck out to you, Kylen, that you feel we should address?
No, I was trying to find out exactly where the Warriors.
I can't hear you at all. Darn it.
What? You can't hear me?
I can. It's like really faint. I don't know. Am I the only one? Is it me? Well, now it's like just a big old like feedback kind of sound. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Well, yes, Joe. Yeah, okay. So it's not just me. Well, you're figuring that out. Why don't I play some sound? There's a couple sound bites that are coming down now. This is first off, Steve Kerr. This is someone who I've been wanting to hear from for a while now. So why don't we play the soundbite? This is Kerr talking about Klay Thompson's late game 3-pointers and whether
last two shots
okay
there,
with
those
that. So
3-pointers.
here's Kerr.
Yeah, Steve, Klay obviously wants it so bad, but did you feel like he forced those last two shots there, those 3-pointers?
Yeah, I trust Klay. I mean, think of everything that he's done for this team. So part of who he is he's going to fire away. And there were a couple late that he probably would like to have back. But that's it's part of who we are as a team. We're gonna fire. We're gonna if Steph or Klay gets an opening, they're gonna let it go. And they've had a ton of success over the years. Obviously, they both had some looks down the stretch. But give the Lakers credit. They played good defense, and we couldn't get anything to go.
Yes, Steve.
I don't know if those are good looks, Coach. Kylen, is your mic issue fixed?
I have no idea.
Yes, you're good. You're good.
I didn't touch anything, so I literally just unplugged my board. I have an audio board over here, and I replugged it back in. So
you're
I don't
all
know.
good. You're
the only
all
thing I think
good.
was maybe just like a loose wire or just like some freak things. I have not moved or touched anything.
You're fine. It's working now. What were your thoughts on Steve Kerr basically saying he's okay with Klay taking those shots? The one thing where I feel like he was kind of missing reality a bit is that those were not open looks. Those were not catch and shoot plays. Klay was forcing those. Did you hear it? Do you want to play it again?
No, that's fine. I mean, I think that we talked about this before, just that Klay Thompson is at his best when he's shooting, catch and shoot threes, and when he's more of a spot up shooter versus creating shots for himself, like more of a Steph. And I agree. I thought that tonight that Klay was forcing it. And he's done this at points throughout the season, especially since coming back from injury, where I feel like he forces tough shots, contested threes on the dribble, like I said, creating, or he does too much and winds down the shot clock a little bit, then is forced to throw up a bad look. Or he rushes in possessions as well. I mean, there have been times we've seen that from Klay. I don't think every look tonight was a good one for Klay. I hope that he comes back and turns it around next game. But I think that I agree. I think he was forcing a little bit, and maybe Steve Kerr is just trying to keep his confidence up. I think that's a factor as well, because this Warriors team does trust Klay Thompson. They want him to keep shooting. At least, that's what they've said throughout the season, throughout ups and downs in Klay's game. And he has been inconsistent at times this season. But then there's also times where he steps up and he has massive games. So I think they want to keep his confidence high, give him the green light to keep shooting, and hope that he figures it out, and goes with the flow of the game and finds his shot in rhythm more than he was tonight versus creating off the dribble.
I got to address anytime I see moronic posts like from someone like ADG who says you got your foul shots tonight and still didn't win. What happened? If you were in any way accurate, I'd maybe respect your criticism, but no, it was the foul thing was still an issue. In fact, the Warriors had 12 free throw attempts tonight to 20 for the Los Angeles Lakers in a game where the Warriors lost by 3 points. It particularly stuck out in the fourth quarter. Now, granted, this is where it started sticking out to me a little bit that Gary Payne II was missing, because the Lakers kept looking for the LeBron, Steph, and Curry matchup. That's all LeBron was doing. That was the Lakers offense. If it wasn't Lonnie Walker the fourth, it was LeBron James basically going pick and roll, pick, screen.
Yeah.
I got Steph on me. Now let's run this. And Steph got called for that really ugly reaching foul late, unnecessary. But at the same time, it's such a size disadvantage for Steph. It's like, what are you going to do? And having a player like Gary Payton II out there sometimes cools, defensive maladies. Like it sometimes resolves these things to have a savant like Gary Payton II out there. But going back to the free throw thing, no, it was not resolved. The Golden State Warriors tonight had 12 free throw attempts. The Los Angeles Lakers had 20. So no, the Lakers still benefited from that. Come up with something more creative and actually more accurate than a worthless criticism like that. I do apologize for going on a tangent there, but we're all set at the end of the show. And what else are we going to talk about? I want to play this soundbite real quick, though. Anything to add to that, Kylen? I'm sorry. I don't want to just
No.
take the
We
scene
can move
hostage.
on.
Okay. I want to play this soundbite from Gary Payton II, who is saying that there is no panic in the locker room. Let's hear what GP2 has to say.
Gary, what's the mood in the locker room after a loss like this?
It's still positive, you know. We know we have them, down the line. We just got to make one more run, late, and just create that space and opportunity. Like I said, we just got to capitalize on, when we get turnovers in transition, just capitalize on, finishing the possession.
Gary, how you feeling? You left at one point in the first quarter. You headed for the locker room. Everything okay there?
No, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Hey, Gary, you guys were down 0-2 last series. You came back. You're down 3-1 now. So what gives you confidence to be able to come back and, respond on Wednesday or Thursday?
We got a lot of heart in this team and a lot of fight. So we're back against the wall, and we got to come out swinging. So we got a lot of guys right here that, is ready and stay ready. So we just got to come out and hit first.
Kylen, you're taking off for a wedding, so you're not going to have a chance to really follow up. So I'll give the floor to you. What do you think is going to happen in Game 5? I mean, the season's on the line. Possibly the Dynasty's on the line. It's going to be one very interesting offseason if the Warriors lose that game or just lose this series. What do you expect? What do you? Floor's yours. Take it away, please.
A lot of people are saying they think the dynasty is ending, or at least I've seen a couple of comments mentioning that. And I think the Warriors can win Game 5 at home. I do. I think it changes the dynamic going back to Chase Center. The Warriors have been a team that have struggled on the road all season. And, I do think that they have an extra edge when they're playing at Chase. And I think they can win Game 5. That being said, winning 3 straight games against the Lakers, that to win the series, that's going to be tough. My hope is all riding on the corgi that's been predicting the series. I don't know if you've seen the TikTok or Twitter corgi, Cyrus, but I tweeted it out just before this. There's a corgi that's been doing like game predictions, and the corgi is spot on. The corgi predicted that the Lakers would be up 3-1, but the Warriors would come back and win 4-3. Do I think the Warriors are going to figure it out? I don't know, but I'm hoping the corgi is right.
I'll check. I missed that somehow, Kylen, and I follow
You gotta look up, guys. If you're hoping to hold on to hope, look up the corgi. A lot of people are saying Lakers in 6. Like, yeah, I could see that happening. I could see it happening. I hate to count the Golden State Warriors out because they came back from being down 2-0 against the Sacramento Kings. The Warriors did something they'd never done before in a postseason. So I don't want to count them out, but Lakers in 6. I mean, I could see it for sure.
This is if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the video right now of Air Korg. So the Korgi is actually bouncing a ball into a basket for his prediction or her prediction. That's phenomenal. So the Corgi predicted Warriors in 7?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
So
Yeah,
I would say, so now you can see the rest of the prediction. So it was right thus far, and I'm praying that there's some good corgi juju that'll transfer to this team. I mean, it's hard to predict because the Warriors have been inconsistent this season. It's hard to predict what team is going to show up. Because Jordan Poole hasn't played this terrible all season. Like, he's been great at times. So does Jordan Poole show up? Does Klay Thompson show up in games 5 and 6? Do those two have big nights? We know what Steph Curry brings on the regular, but I think there's just a lot of factors up in the air, and that some players really have to come to play, not just in one game, but in 2 games and 3 games. That remains to be seen.
Yeah. And again, it really bums me out that I have emphasized this strongly, that I want some size from the Warriors. I want either JaMychal Green or Jonathan Kuminga. I wasn't minding Kuminga not playing because JaMychal was seeing minutes, but in this game, we got 10 minutes from Looney, 2 minutes from JaMychal, another DNP from Kuminga. For anyone in the chat or out there saying Kuminga's trash, what do you base that on? Your eye test? Nothing statistically indicates that. It's just you're not going to win with this small ball crap. All right, Don Nelson tried it for decades. It never worked. You need to have the absolute perfect personnel. The Warriors briefly had that personnel, but even then, they had Kevin Durant, who was 6'11". They had guys again like Iguodala, 6'7", Livingston, 6'8". They've never been small like this. You don't win like this. So that part of it, I will point to the coaching staff for, because you got to help out your stars. When your stars are 6'3", 6'5", 6'7", they need support, and I don't think they're getting it. But Klay obviously played like trash. I think you and I are on the same page about Jordan Poole, right? I mean, this is just not the series for him. We can save that discussion for another day. Is that fair to say? What any thoughts from you?
Yeah. My final thought is that to your last point is that I would like to see more Jonathan Kuminga, or at least I'd like to see him get a chance. For the people saying Jonathan Kuminga sucks, like, he was great at times during the regular season. I've agreed. I have said that I don't think he's necessarily brought it in the postseason. I haven't liked his body language. I haven't liked his intensity and effort. But I think this is a series that his skill set could be a major asset for the Warriors if he were to bring it. And I mean, at this point, Jordan Poole is just not playing well at all. Like, give some of those bench minutes and at least give JK a shot. If not, JaMychal Green has been effective at times in this series as well, and can add some size and potentially stretch the floor when he does hit threes, which he can. So I wouldn't mind letting Kuminga have a chance at least. And seeing how he does in an important moment. I know he wasn't impressive in garbage time the other night, but that's also a tough situation, going in and knowing that, the game doesn't matter at that point, or at least, the scoreline has pretty much been decided at that point. So I wouldn't mind seeing how he does. And I wouldn't mind seeing more JaMychal Green, because I think his size and floor spacing when he does hit threes could be an asset.
Here you go. Well, you have fun at the wedding. We're going to miss you. And again, either I might end up doing a show tomorrow. Maybe I'll have another guest. I don't know. Follow the program on Twitter at Locked On Dubs, because there is a lot to break down here. I'm very curious to hear some of the other sound, and I'm probably going to play a lot of sound tomorrow if I do a show, because I'm curious. I'm really curious to hear what they have to say about what's going on. This is crazy. They're down 3-1. Officially must win. There's no more room for error. Kylen, so do you predict the Warriors winning Game 5?
I predict the Warriors winning Game 5. I'm not going to go as far as to predict the Warriors win the series. I just do not know how this is going to end up. I think if the Warriors win 5 and 6, they have an absolute chance. I think 7 would be a toss-up. I think, if they win Game 5, Game 6 is the one I don't feel confident about. I think the Lakers could take it in 6 at home. So we'll just have to see. Like, to me, that's going to be the game that decides it. Like, if the Warriors win 6 and suddenly they go back home 7, Game 7 with major momentum. But if Lakers come out and play aggressive and the Warriors don't show up to play like they haven't on the road this season, then that might be it. I don't know that I have a clear-cut prediction for the series, but I think the Warriors, they do respond usually when losing like this. And I like to think they win Game 5, but I don't know that this series is going to go their way.
Oh man, yeah, we'll see. And if you want to just jump in from Florida at any point, just say the word. We'll patch you in. We'll get you on the show. Otherwise, have have some safe travels. Have fun at the wedding. It's your sister, right?
Yep.
So you have a new brother-in-law coming into the family.
Yes.
Congrats.
Yep.
All right. Good stuff.
Thank you.
And so we'll keep this going. It's interesting times. I don't know how else to really put it at the moment, but if you're in shock, I understand. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane.
I am in shock. That's why I can't predict the series. I am shocked. And at points in this game, late in this game, I thought the Warriors had it. So it's kind of, it's a tough one for sure.
Absolutely. All righty. Safe travels. Have fun.
Thank you.
For everyone out there, we'll be back at it soon. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks.